Senator Madigan.
Mr President, my question is to the Minister representing the Minister for the Environment, Senator Conroy. Minister, in light of the fact that the Commonwealth's approval for the construction of the Bald Hills Wind Farm in the midst of a high conservation value bird sanctuary and wetlands area, home to 296 species of birds, 45 of which are listed in the Japan-Australia Migratory Agreement, 40 listed in the China-Australia Migratory Bird Agreement and 3 listed in the Bonn Convention, means that Australia is now in breach of our—
Wait a minute, Senator Madigan. There are a number of people on both my left and my right. Order. Order. There are a number of people on both my left and my right. Order. 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 Senator Madigan is entitled to be heard in silence. Order. Senator Madigan.
Means that Australia is now in breach of our international obligations to protect those birds, their environment and habitats as per the relevant articles in those agreements. Will the Minister advise what actions are being taken to call in this project, remove Commonwealth approval and bring Australia into compliance with our international obligations?
The Minister representing the Minister for the Environment, Senator Conroy.
Thank you, Mr President, and could I thank Senator Madigan for his question. I do well remember, as we've already heard from some of the interjections during the question, Mr President, the passionate debate that this chamber had about the orange-bellied parrot. We had that newly born greenie, Mr Senator Ian Campbell. On behalf of those opposite, Mr President, he decided that this had to be saved at any costs. And all of those opposite joined with him in his passion to save the orange-bellied parrot. So let's have no interjections over there mocking Senator Campbell today. No interjections. Mr. I couldn't possibly suggest that Senator Campbell—
Senator Conroy,
sorry, Mr President.
I want you to address your comments to the Chair. Ignore the interjections. Senator Madigan has asked a question which you should be answering.
And I did want to remind the chamber of everybody's contribution on all sides on the orange-bellied parrot. But, Mr President, the environment, Minister Burke's Environment Department is closely monitoring this project to ensure that it is undertaken in a manner consistent with its conditions of approval under the Environment Protection and Biodiversity Conservation Act 1999. Responsibility, as everyone in this chamber knows who was involved in that debate, including Senator Brandis, who voted to protect orange-bellied parrots, responsibility for wind farm approval rests primarily with state and local governments. The Commonwealth is involved only where wind farm proposals impact on matters of national environmental significance, Mr President. The matters of national environmental significance protected for this project are listed threatened species and communities and listed migratory species. Minister Burke is advised that
Time has expired. Senator Madigan.
Mr President, as the conditions of approval agreed to by the Commonwealth in 2006 focus on locating and counting birds killed by the turbines and require the stopping of the turbines and taking mitigation measures to prevent future kills if just 3 of the listed bird species are killed, what mitigation measures does the Minister believe could realistically be taken to stop bird mortality by turbines located in the midst of a bird sanctuary, flyway and migration route other than not building the wind farm?
Order. The Minister.
Thank you, Mr President. Could I also indicate, I didn't get a chance to at the end of my answer to your previous question, that any other matters in that earlier part of the question I'll happily take on notice and see if Minister Burke has anything further he would like to add. But, Mr President, Minister Burke is advised that in accordance with the conditions of approval for this project, a bat and AV fauna management plan was approved for this project on the 17th of July 2012. Under this plan, monitoring of AV fauna is to be carried out and a report provided to the Environment Department in July 2013. And I'm happy to get a copy of that management plan and make sure that it's available to you, Senator Madigan. But Minister Burke is advised that the approval also contains strict conditions relating to bird mortality. The person taking the action must notify Minister Burke in writing of any mortality of a member of a listed...
Time has expired. Senator Madigan.
Mr President, considering that the research underpinning the Commonwealth's approval was so bad that the 2004 Victorian Assessment Panel found that, quote, at this stage there is insufficient information to allow proper assessment against the criteria of no impact on species listed under the Environment Protection and Biodiversity Conservation Act or the Flora and Fauna Guarantee Act, unquote, on what basis has the Commonwealth continued to uphold its 2006 approval?
The Minister.
Thank you, Mr President. Again, I also will take on notice any remaining parts of your questions I hadn't had a chance to address there, Senator Madigan, and see if Minister Burke would like to add to that. As I was saying, Mr President, Minister Burke is advised that the approval also contains strict conditions. The person taking the action must notify Minister Burke in writing of any mortality of a member of a listed threatened or migratory species on the site of the action within 48 hours of becoming aware of the mortality. In the event of a second or subsequent mortality for certain species, such as the orange-bellied parrot, the swift parrot, or the white-bellied sea eagle, all operations within 1 kilometre of the mortality site must cease immediately. And Senator Madigan, you raised very valid questions, and I'm happy to take on notice any further parts of that questions I haven't addressed. But we should not forget that
Senator Conroy, your time's expired.